to juggle a soccer ball with my feet for a long time. I mean, a really long time. Over an hour straight. My record is 7,157 consecutive juggles, no drops. I first picked up soccer juggling at age 8 to improve my soccer skills at the suggestion of the coach of my competitive team. My mom, a former Division I soccer player, happily joined me on my juggling outings. As my naturally persistent personality kicked in, maybe a little obsessive, I was getting some pretty high numbers for a beginner. It became clear that I had a special knack for juggling, and when my mom told me about childhood cancer and St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, I was struck that kids just like me had their lives turned upside down in an instant. They played sports, went to school, hung out with their friends. All things other healthy kids and I did, but then they couldn't. Getting the highest number of consecutive soccer juggles in a row at practice was nice, but the idea of helping kids with cancer is what drove my obsession with juggling. I found a way to connect the two, creating a fundraiser I called Juggling for Jude, through which I collected donations in exchange for juggles. With some donating as much as $1 per juggle, my records now really mattered. Meeting kids like Kayla, a St. Jude brain cancer survivor, and seeing her courage and perseverance gave new meaning to my work. She and her parents would be the first of many St. Jude families who I met, whose stories brought my life meaning and filled me with a sense of purpose. I loved knowing that my efforts could make a difference. Through the support of more than 3,000 people across 6 continents in 7 years, I have raised over $500,000 for the St. Jude mission. And while my goal has been to make a difference for kids with cancer, something unexpected also happened. I gained a sense of purpose. Using my skills for something bigger than myself has become a gift to me as well. Being a part of an effort to create change for people in need has profoundly impacted my life. Through this effort, I have been exposed to the best elements of social partnership and collaboration. It has introduced me to great minds in science and the most generous people in philanthropy. I've witnessed how families and communities support their own when faced with unthinkable challenges. I've become a part of a movement. The result of one person's mission, St. Jude founder Danny Thomas, has become a shared purpose across geographic, racial, religious, and socioeconomic divides. Being introduced to such collective goodness has empowered me to do my part. And this experience is not exclusive to St. Jude or to me. This is an experience we can all cultivate and create. It wasn't like I ever intentionally set out to find my purpose. I don't think most 9-year-olds do. In fact, most 16-year-olds don't set out to find a purpose. The thing is, we don't need exceptional talents or abilities to generate help for others. Dr. William Damon, director of the Stanford University Center on Adolescence, defines adolescent purpose as a, quote, stable and generalized intention to accomplish something that is at once meaningful to the self and of consequence to the world beyond the self, end quote. He talks about the importance of cultivating purpose in adolescence, and he presents extensive research demonstrating that teens with a purpose are happier, more motivated, and more emotionally grounded than those without. According to Claudia Wallace of the Hetchinger Report, a national nonprofit news outlet focusing on education, quote, researchers have linked a sense of purpose to lower levels of adolescent depression, less binge drinking and drug abuse, healthier habits such as exercising, and a greater commitment to schoolwork. This research resonated with me and my story. I always try to share what I have learned with others. I talk with other kids about finding their own paths to giving. I hadn't focused on the word purpose, but in truth, what I've been getting at all along is how great it feels to do something that makes the world better. That has become my purpose. In my experience, too few teenagers are guided by a true sense of purpose. And research backs this up. According to a Stanford University School of Education study, only 17% of high school freshmen have a sense of purpose, and just 23% of seniors do. Teens have so much energy, potential, and possibility for impact. We are also developmentally wired to focus on ourselves. My fellow Marin teens have become a part of a cultural race towards achievement, worrying about test scores, GPAs, and extracurriculars to impress colleges. Too often lost in that shuffle is the development of purpose. And this is a problem the pandemic exposed, leaving teens feeling more depressed, anxious, and aimless as their typical pursuits were canceled. I am grateful I had a purpose during the pandemic. I took online classes in nonprofits and philanthropy and began researching strategies for fundraising outreach. And after hundreds of emails, social media posts, blogs, and videos, a virtual juggling challenge attracted participants across 6 continents. I also got introduced to a 76-year-old psychophysicist, I didn't even know there was such a thing, who offered to teach me his research on human decision-making. Howard Moskowitz, PhD, was the subject of a pretty famous TED Talk by Malcolm Gladwell. Back in the day, Dr. Moskowitz found that some people wanted lumpy spaghetti sauce, others wanted smooth, generating a run of Prego sauces. Experimenting with Tropicana, he found that some people wanted pulp in their orange juice, and Tropicana Grove Stand was born. Basically, Dr. Moskowitz found that there were clusters of wanting. He later applied his research to ideas and found the same kind of clustering. He calls them mindsets. From spaghetti sauce to voting preferences. From orange juice to what messages will make you donate to a charity. Dr. Moskowitz taught me his research methodology so I could conduct market research for nonprofits. Of course, my focus has been on helping St. Jude. And at Dr. Moskowitz's urging, I am also training a team of other teen and young adult researchers to help organizations of their choosing, researching messaging that might attract donors and volunteers. Zoom School did offer one surprising advantage. I learned I could schedule meetings during lunches and study halls, which allowed me to engage in the adult world of nonprofits and corporations. I sometimes felt like a superhero, changing outfits and traveling between Zoom work and Zoom school in seconds. The kind of learning and contributing that I did and continue to do is the kind of learning that you just don't typically get in regular school. I learned that there is no substitute for having your work mean something in the real world, beyond grades in a classroom. I absolutely loved it. In many high schools, students are funneled towards mandated community service hours, like one-off volunteer work, feeding a Thanksgiving meal to the homeless, or spending an hour picking up trash on the beach to earn credit for a class or graduation requirement. Don't get me wrong, these are great ways to spend some time, but research shows that fleeting, mandated one-off efforts like these can actually deter people from longer-term, more profound philanthropic work. So, how can we make meaningful outreach standard practice for teens? We need to see the road set before us as just one of many, the usual activities as just one set of possibilities. Too often we are guided by what our parents deem as the right opportunities, and we aren't encouraged to create and explore our own. We need to test the waters more, dabble in something new, and then zoom into whatever works. No pun intended. We need to try on new causes as often as we try on new outfits. We need to embrace a spirit of curiosity about the world and contribute in ways that access our personal resources and sync with our values, interests, and empathy. Creating new avenues for engagement can feel unsettling. Curiosity in general can feel unsettling. But for me, even the most extreme detours have led to real opportunity for discovery and purpose. But here's the thing. Fostering and purpose in teens takes commitment. It takes time, money, effort, mentorship. It requires a belief in a concept and its importance. It means taking a leap, like doing something like obsessively soccer juggling, might be a ticket to impact rather than a distraction. It means parents and educators need to emphasize paths less traveled as often as achievement outcomes. It means that we need to understand that the pursuit of purpose and school success are not mutually exclusive, and the former is just as essential to scaffold as the latter. It means that we need to appreciate how much we teens have to offer and encourage us to be curious, explore, and develop our own passions and interests. Research shows that purpose often comes from exploring personal values and imagining changes you want to see in the world. Using this understanding to drive civic engagement and societal benefit is a great way to discover one's value in the world, a critical element of purpose. My proposal would involve classes focusing on self-discovery of values and desired purpose, cultivation of necessary skills, and mentorship by connecting students with civic organizations and nonprofits. I know how eager my generation is to dive in. We just need the scaffolding and structure. Would this be logistically challenging? Yes, but research like Dr. Damon's is pretty compelling. Teens are suffering from a lack of purpose. The challenge is worth it. We all have so much to gain. When he was a PhD candidate doing research at Harvard, Dr. Moskowitz flipped the experimental paradigm upside down. Instead of going in with a hypothesis, he just went in with curiosity. No preconceived notions, no roadmap or path. He was just going in to see what would surface. He tells me, you will learn something new every single time. How cool would it be to harness the inherent sense of wonder within teens by encouraging their unique passions and purpose to grow? I bet if we do, something new and meaningful will emerge. Thank you for listening.